let's go. Girl. Come on, let's go. Stay. Good. Okay, let's go. Good girl. Good. Lay. Stay. Okay. Laila, place. Good girl. Stay. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Good girl. Okay. Laila. Laila. Come. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Like? No. Not gonna be drop it. Okay. Place. Hi, this is Ashley from Top Dog. We just showed you what Laila can do. Now I'm going to show you how to give each command properly. Make sure before you give her a command that you're going to stand right in front of her and have her attention first before you tell her what you want. Also remember there's two parts to each command. The command, like such as sit, and the release word. For Laila, it's going to be okay. So okay frees her up to do what she wants until you give her the next command to do. So we're going to start with a sit stay. For sit, the hand signal that goes with it is going to be a palm up towards the ceiling. So you're going to give the command and the hand signal at the same time. Okay. Good girl. Laila. Sit. Good. Good girl. For down, or lay rather, it's going to be a palm towards the ground. Lay. Good girl. And then adding in the stay command, which can be done in the sit, down, or place position, it's going to be a stop sign towards her nose. So say stay, and now she's expected to hold that stay until you come back to her, okay, and release her with okay. If she chooses to lay where she is after you say okay, not a problem. Don't correct her for that. And then for place, when you decide what you want her place to be, which is just going to be any designated area that she's expected to go onto, she can stand, sit, or lay down on the place. She tends to like to lay down, and usually if you expect her to hold it a little longer, down is a more comfortable position for her. So for place, how you present it to her is going to be like a swoop of your arm over the place bed. Okay, place. Good girl. Good girl. Stay. Good girl. Okay. Good girl, Laila. I know it's hot today. Come on. Come on, Laila. Good girl. Sit. When you want to heel with Laila, the command is going to be let's go. The visual signal that goes with that is going to be a pat on your left leg, and we're also going to lead off on our left foot. Ready? Let's go. Good girl. Girl. And then after you give the let's go command, when you come to a stop, she's expected to sit right next to you automatically. Good girl. All right. Okay. Place. Leave it. That command is going to be used when she gets fixated on something else and you want her to return her focus back to you. So you saw I threw toys and treats and she looks at them, and then when you tell her leave it, you reward her or praise her when she looks back at you. Don't have a hand symbol for that one. And drop it. Tried to get her to play with some of our toys, but drop it is going to be used when she has something in her mouth. And the game we like to play is called Drop It, Swap It. So have two toys of similar value to her. toss her one, let her have it in her mouth, tell her drop it. As soon as she does, you're gonna throw the other toy. So it's gonna be like an ongoing game for her, and she's realizing that if she drops it, or she drops anything, she's gonna get something in return. So drop it, swap it. Really important. Good girl. Okay. And then if she were to jump up on you or other people or furniture, the command we're gonna use for that is off. Okay, good girl. Using the prong collar. So first, of course, taking it on and off the dog. You're gonna wanna use any of the links in the middle as opposed to the ones that are on the metal plates that have the brand Springer. They're bent in a specific way, so any of these ones in the middle are fair game. You're gonna wanna take your dominant hand, your thumb and your pointer finger, and you're gonna push up on one prong, push it out of these two holes, and then pinch right at the top as you squeeze and pull out. And then to put it on the dog, to close it, you're gonna pinch those two together and put them right back in those two little holes. Squeeze and put back in the holes. There we go. And then when it's on the dog, you want the leash to connect in the back of their neck, back of their head. And the leash is going to attach to the swivel hook. It's about a half circle as opposed to the full circle. The leash is gonna go on here. And the way it should fit is it's never dangling off of them, but it's not too tight that you can't put your hands in there and kind of maneuver it around their neck. And you want it to sit up as high on their neck as possible, right under their ears. Of course, it will slide down a little bit because of their fur, but like I said, you want it to be loose enough that it's not dangling, but still loose enough to be able to put it back on her neck where you want it and make sure the leash connects in the back. Now I'm going to show you how to give a correction if A, Layla chooses not to comply the first time you give a command, or if she does something that we're trying to get her to do less often, like jump up on people. First, the verbal correction that we're going to give, which is kind of like a warning, so it comes after the command if they choose not to comply. It's just an So she responds really well to that, but if that's not enough and she hasn't complied after that verbal reprimand, then we're going to use the leash and the prong collar for all of her on-leash commands. So that prong collar is going to be up on her neck as high as it'll go, and then the leash is going to attach to it. And anytime you give a correction with the leash and the prong, make sure it is a pop and release motion. So watch this wrist, pop and release immediately. Until she complies, then the correction stops, and you want to make sure you praise or reward her even if you had to correct her after she complies. Good girl. Okay. So for sit, remember that hand signal is going to be pop up, sit. Good girl. If she hadn't done it, of course you give her that And then for sit, the correction direction is going to be straight up, right up between her ears. Pop and release until she sits, and praise or reward. Good girl. For lay, remember the hand signal is going to be to the ground. And then with the pop and release, if she does not lay down, even after the you're going to pop and release 45-degree angle towards the ground until she lays down. Lay. Good girl. Of course, if she complies the first time, she needs no correction, and that's ideal. Of course. Okay. Good girl. Place. Good girl. For place, you would just correct by first giving her that verbal reprimand, and then just popping, releasing with the leash towards the place bed where you want her to be. And then for a stay, so remember the hand signal is going to be palm towards her face, and then if she were to break a stay, you want to make sure you bring her back to where she was and you put her back in that position, remind her to stay, and then make sure she holds it until you go back to her and release her with it. Okay. Good girl. Girl, come on. Come on, Layla. Come on. Come on, Mama. Come on. Good girl. Okay, when we're healing. Good girl. We are going to do a 180-degree correction if the dog is not paying attention to us or is forging out ahead a little bit. So the 180-degree correction is literally just that. You are going to turn very quickly in a 180-degree rotation, and the collar and the leash will do all the work correcting the dog. And then make sure you praise her when she's back where she needs to be on your left-hand side. You ready? So I'm going to try to demonstrate what that 180-degree correction looks like. You ready? Layla, let's go. So if she's forging out ahead too far, you turn, pop with the leash. Good girl. Turn, pop with the leash. Good girl. Leave it. Good. Turn, pop with the leash. Good job. Let's go. Good girl. And pop. Good girl. Good job, Laila. Okay. And remember, if you come to a stop and she's forgotten to sit next to you, first give her that verbal reprimand to remind her. Then if she still hasn't sat, remember for sit, it's pop and release straight up between her ears until she sits. Good girl. For leave it, if you tell her to leave something that she's fixated on and she doesn't, it's just gonna be a pop and release towards you. And then for drop it, if she doesn't, excuse me, if she doesn't drop what she has in her mouth, just pop and release straight up until she does. And then make sure you praise her when she does drop the item. Now for the e-collar, there's two parts to it. We have the remote and the collar itself. So now to turn the collar on, you're gonna use the red magnet that's on the remote and line it up with the red magnet that's on the collar until the green light comes on. Then when it's fully charged, it'll blink green intermittently to let you know that it's fully charged. It'll start blinking like an orangey color when it needs to be charged, but you can treat this like a cell phone. If it's on her during the day, put it on the charger at night. The ports for that are one here on the collar, right here below the prongs, just a rubber flap, and then one here in the back of the remote. So then, turning the remote on. In the back, there's it is labeled on and off, so you're gonna hold that big button in the back for about 3 seconds until the light comes on. It's blue and then has her what her number is currently set at. To change that number, you're gonna use this die right here. It's pretty sensitive. With just a little turn, it'll turn a lot. So I'll lock it right now at about 10. To lock it, you're gonna hold the dial down for about 3 seconds until the number blinks, and now it should be locked and you won't be able to turn the number accidentally. The other buttons on the remote, the T stands for tone. It's set right now to do a vibration method. So that is just to make sure that you have both the remote and the collar paired. We don't use the vibration much for corrections. So I'll hit the tone, and anytime you hit a button on here, remember, it's gonna light up red. So don't think it's low on battery, it's just because you pressed the button. So this is just to make sure that you turn the collar on, got the remote working, everything's paired together before you put it on the dog. And then the corrections that we do involve the S's. They stand for static or stimulation. Our go-to correction is the black S. So that is going to be a momentary static stimulation at level 10, because that's what it's set to right now. It goes up to 100. The red S, if you hold it down, is a continuous static stimulation for up to 10 seconds max. That's your backup. That's if she's really not responding to the momentary. You can hold that for a 10-second continuous correction. And then if you need a boost real quick on that number, especially if it's locked and you need a boost because they're chasing something or their drive is, kicked into high gear and they need a little more stimulation to snap them out of it. If you hold the red and the black buttons, the S's down together, the number's gonna boost by 5. So it'll go from 10 to 15 with just that double press of the black and the red together. So that's your double, your boost. So when you go to practice your recalls with Laila, make sure you start on leash first, but make sure you have her e-collar on her. It's going to sit below the prong collar, and the box is going to go on either side of her neck. You want to make sure it's snug enough that those prongs are making constant contact with her skin, and it's not going to maneuver too much around her neck. So we're going to start her on leash because when she goes home, it's going to be a change of environment, change of handlers. It's going to be a transition for her. So take a step back, start her on leash, but still correcting with the e-collar so she understands that even though she's in a new environment, she's still gonna follow through with all of her commands the same way she does here. Right, girl? Good girl. So we're gonna start fairly close on the leash, then start to give her a little more distance between us before taking her completely off leash. So when you call her to come, it's gonna be nice and loud, animated. You're gonna use her name first, so Laila, and then follow that with the word come with an outstretched arm in towards your body, encouraging her all the way to you. So pat your legs, clap your hands, be really exciting. Make her want to come to you. Ready? Laila, come. Good girl. girl. Good job, good girl. Good. Okay. Layla, come. Good girl. Very good. Okay. So I didn't have to use this at all to correct her, but you use this when you call her to come, give her about 2 seconds. If she's not turning her head and starting to come towards you, that's when you'll hit the black S button. So that's our go-to correction. Until she starts coming to you, then stop with the corrections and start encouraging her to come. Good job, Lay.